And the thing that really drives me nuts is when I read these comments on the forums, it's just like they're here for our water or they're here for our gold.
It's so stupid.
And you just want to slap them. It's like, dude, water, one of the most plentiful molecules in the universe. They don't have to traipse 100,000 light years to get a bucket of water. They can just go anywhere. I mean, hell, Earth isn't the king of water in the solar system. Enceladus has more water, gallons of water, than we do. You don't have to come to Earth, and you don't have to desalinize it. It's just right there for the baking. Gold, who cares? You have to sift it out of our crust. Just pick it up out of the asteroid belt, man. It's already 99.9% pure. You don't have to, mess with it. It's just pick up the rock outside. But yeah, it's like they don't need our gold. They don't need our water. The only thing that is special about Earth, again, is our biology. That is the one thing that could be seen as unique. And being unique doesn't mean it has to be about us.
The only reason I think aliens would be visiting here, and I generally believe they are, but there is an element of faith in that belief. I do struggle with some of the evidence. I think they'd be coming here because we would. And that's always the way I put it. Because of course aliens would want to come here. We would want to. If we found alien life on another planet, we'd want to go and explore. We find life on another country, we want to go and explore and learn about it.
Right.
That's what we've always done.
Yeah, I mean, let's say there's 100 civilizations in this galaxy. Just 100 for keeping the numbers round. And let's say 10%'s like us, exploratory, really insanely curious. Well, that means at least there's 10 civilizations out there that like to travel. They want to hit all the national parks. I mean, it's what's the Tolkien quote? Not all those that wander are lost.
Yeah.
And we are literally a species that is hell bent on exploration. We like to go for the drive in the country, just to let's see if we can find some fruit stands. I mean, we like to travel, we like to explore, and we like to learn about where we go. And how many anthropology? I mean, that's a degree that is just all about going and learning about somebody else.
Yeah, I've seen loads of hills in my life, bloody loads. I still like going to Scotland to see different ones.
Right?
Because aren't they beautiful? It's just a hill. But yes, it's a pretty hill. It's different to my hills. But we do that. Why did you climb that hill? Because it was there. I wanted to.
It was there.
Yeah, I wanted to see what the view was like. The view was like. You've seen views before. Yeah, but I've not seen that.
Well, you have Google Earth.
Yeah, exactly. You could have seen a photo of that. But
let's say that is 10% of all intelligent species have that panache. You have that kind of wanderlust that has a drive for, and maybe 90% doesn't. That still means there's a significant amount of people coming here, or entities coming here, to just look around. And maybe they don't have a thing called a giraffe with this insanely long neck. Like, how did that thing evolve? No, I'm not sure we know how it evolved.
No.
I mean, that's a really long neck for such a little, and then the poor baby's born and has to take an 8-foot drop to the ground. We have lots of animal species that are amazing to look at, and I'm wondering why they wouldn't be amazing to some other intelligent species,
and amazing to learn about as well. And you never even know that there might be scientific interest that because as well, our evolution might have come up with solutions that theirs hasn't for different things. That's not why we hunt around in the Amazon so much. We find new medications, we find new methods of treating things all the time. You don't know that advanced species might. There might be lots of agendas for species to come here, but I do think the number one will be exploration and knowledge and learning, and because they can. There might also be a desire to protect the Earth, and protect the life on the Earth. You know, we could get a species come here that go, you know what, actually, we do need to help these people along because they're killing that planet. But they wouldn't want to do that in a maybe an obvious way. You know, that's because we would freak out because we're so primitive. And I think a lot of people would freak out. Actually, I think if an alien species called to come, you know, like the Prime Directive in Star Trek,
Right.
you can't go thing and mess with the planet because it would change the evolution of that planet. It is true. An evolved species come here, they probably wouldn't want to be too overt about it because it would change us instantly.
I find more truth in Star Trek than I do that anything coming out of Lou Elizondo's mouth, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Back when Star Trek was good. Not Star Trek now.
Yes, bad Trek, man. It's still better than anything comes out of Lou Elizondo's mouth. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That guy's
debate Star Trek for a bit. Star Trek Discovery is trying to be good again.
I'm actually looking forward to Strange New Worlds.
Is that the new cartoon one or the Pike one?
That's the Pike one. They said it goes back to the original series, kind of formulaic.
Yeah, they do say it's going to be much more like the original Star Trek, don't they? Mm-hmm. The XO, the female number one officer, is very pretty. Get back to the science though, as well, just really quickly. Right? So the science of how aliens could come here, because that was one of the comments I got. You don't understand physics. They can't come here. It's too far. It's not possible. We're already looking at technologies. There's this physicist, Eric Lentz, and he was looking at warp drive technologies. And there's this designed by Miguel Alcubierre. I'm going to go Alcubierre. I'm really good with names. I'm actually becoming famous for it on my channel because Jamie's got a name to say. I'll sit back and wait for him to cock it up. But this goes to an American physicist back in 1994, and he figured out basically this mathematically how a warp drive could work. Right out of Star Trek. So you contract the space in front of your spaceship, and you basically drag space towards you, and you expand it behind you, and you push it away. It's like swimming, I think. It's like how you drag the water behind you as you're swimming, something. And that would allow you to sort of warp space so that you travel from here to here, but really you're pulling the star towards you in a way. Mm-hmm. So you don't break the speed of light. Even relatively, you go faster than the speed of light. You don't. So you're not breaking any laws. I was going to go with 115. I'm always going to say a bunch of scientists.
Because that's exactly how Bob Lazar described it in 1992, 1991 with his Lazar tape video.
A couple of years before this even became a mathematical theory, So a lot of these guys initially they thought about, and this is exactly Bob, that it would require vast amounts of energy or exotic materials that we are not aware of. And as soon as I read that, I went, 115. There you go. So Bob was right again.
Right. Even if you have exotic materials, the amount of energy is kind of the same, except the energy is handled more efficiently and generated more efficiently.
That's what this Eric Lentz is doing at the moment. They've basically said he's designed a warp drive that doesn't need lots of exotic materials and like this negative energy they talk about a lot. So it doesn't need that. You could do it with conventional energy. He calls it conventional energy, but then he talks about how much energy that would actually require. And he says, so you take 100-meter long spaceship would require the equivalent energy of all of Jupiter times about 10, squished down.
It's a phenomenal amount of mass.
Yeah, you have to basically you create a massive amount of mass to distort gravity. But he's now looking at ways of cutting corners and getting around that. But what he's basically the quote that I came up with, I didn't invent it. He said it. The quote he said though was, "We're now getting away from, or we're starting to move away from pure theoretical physics, and starting to move towards engineering." And that is so. Even though we're hundreds of years away from this technology potentially. Or well, unless there's some sort of breakthrough, we're a long way away from it. We're starting to think about how we could do it.
Yeah,
and at our level today.
we've already proven that we can, that Einstein's theories of relativity in terms of time, we've already proven that's a thing. We have, atomic clocks, put one on the ground, put one on an airplane. The one that comes back with the airplane, it is behind. The one, it has experienced less time than the one it's on.
Traveled.
We've done the very same thing with Apollo missions. We've done the very same thing with Skylab, the NASA thing back in the 70s, the orbital space platform that NASA put up in the 76, 75.
It was really a tin can in space. You would have not got me on that damn thing in a million years.
Yeah, I mean, essentially it was
a highly trained astronaut. Do you want to go on this thing? No.
It was an old rocket booster shell that said, hey, let's make a lab out.
It's a tin can with a solar panel stuck on the side.
That's right. And
terrifying.
And so we know that velocity is related to, we know that. I mean, because we've got, we've proven it. And right now, today, we have the technology to build a generational ship to go from here to the other side of the galaxy in ship time, a very short period of time. Now, when they come back, everybody they know is dead. Before they get there, everybody they know is dead. But they can certainly go with today's technology. You build a big enough SpaceX rocket, you can go. You got enough money behind it, you can get. We can do that today. We can travel the distance today. We can't make it back and meet, have dinner with our spouse. But we can certainly traverse the distance today with today's technology.
It's resources in need, really, isn't it? It's having enough.
Yeah,
it's having enough material.
Yeah,
but you could build the nuclear reactors and get energy.
Well,
a lot of the technologies that we're talking about as well, it's energy is the problem. You can have electric engines that we power aircraft with. We just can't power it.
Yeah,
we don't have a power source that can do it. I do wonder if there is a breakthrough in cold fusion or something like that in the next few years, we could see an explosion of really sci-fi style technologies, because there's so many things that we know how to do, we just don't know how to power the damn thing. I don't even believe, though, that these aliens would possibly jump on a ship and come here themselves. I think they would send a probe, because we were saying about earlier about would we go to look at another alien species? Of course we would, because it's what we would do. But when we're going to go to Saturn, we don't send a rocket ship with astronauts on board. We send a satellite. We send a probe.
Yeah.
We send a robot. Yeah. And I was saying, I genuinely think that's what we might be seeing. And
I mean, we do that ourselves. We send robots and sensor platforms and satellite throughout the solar system to collect data. I mean, look at it this way: Mars is the only planet we know of that's entirely inhabited by robots.
Yeah, it's the Borg.
It's the Borg, right?
Star Trek again.
Mars is Borg central, man.
Yeah.
And so if we're doing it, and it's in, we have a resource-based economy. Other civilizations may not have a resource-based economy. And concerning and again, going back to the energy as an issue. It almost takes the same amount of energy to go from Alpha Centauri to here with humans with humans on it or not, because it's just, the distance becomes such a great part of the equation that there's a lot of mass you can add on to it without adding a lot to the cost of getting there. It's just the distance that becomes the issue.
Yeah. But if they are traveling here through some sort of warp technology, though, like you said, the time variance sort of thing becomes an issue. So that might be why, again, they wouldn't actually come here themselves, because if they do come here themselves, by the time they get home, everyone's dead because 1,000 years has gone by. So it may be that that's why they do send a probe. And I was thinking there are ways. We were already looking at things like quantum entanglement, which I always talk about on my channel as being evil and witchcraft, because it makes no sense. But you get two particles come out of the same source. One spins left, one spins right. If you then spin the other one right, the other one will spin left. They're still somehow connected.
Yeah.
And it's instant. And we've proven it as well. We've done lots of experiments and proven that these things are somehow entangled. They're connected. But it breaks all of our laws of physics because it's instant. So the information is somehow being sent faster than the speed of light instantly.
And if you
That's
can
not supposed to be
modulate the
possible.
flipping up and down, you've got entangled radio.
Yeah. Now I've watched
One
videos.
thing I'd like to get, one thing I'd like to go back concerning the time dilation in these gravity ships,
Yeah.
like warp drive, like the guy at NASA was talking about,
Mm.
and the sports model.
Mm-hmm.
If you're using that kind of thing, if you're if you're manipulating gravity where you're falling toward your target, you're not going to suffer the time dilation.
Really? Why?
You've manipulated gravity. If you can manipulate gravity, you can do anything.
Oh, okay. So because you're
if we're traveling right now, let's say we get an atomic clock and we fly to the moon and come back, we're still in the we haven't warped space really. The warping of space only gets to where when we get to the moon or close to the Earth because those are gravity bodies. But if you've got a ship, if you've got a ship like this and you null out the gravity in front of you and your ship falls forward, well, you're not suffering the time dilation. I mean, that's E equals MC squared.
Because you're within a bubble of it, sort of thing.
Right. And the guy, the guy that's designing the warp ship, even though you need the mass of Jupiter times 10 to get the thing to work, when he brings it up, well, you're canceling out relativistic physics or the time dilation. It cancels out. And, that was one of the things Lazar said too. So, if you're falling into that gravity well, you're not suffering the effects of time dilation.
So the quantum. So if you've got entanglement, then, and one of the things about entanglement is that
I didn't go on that tangent. My apologies.
Yeah, it could be like you could use it like a remote control. Now, I saw a few videos on why quantum entanglement can't be used as a communication system, and I was with it again. Completely didn't understand it. I even saw an Idiot's Guide to White Card. Still didn't understand it because as far as I'm concerned, it's like I say, it's spinning up. The other way is spinning down. So if you flip it, that's going to flip up. So surely you could do Morse code, couldn't you? If you really had to, but it'd be digital. It'd be on off, wouldn't it? It'd be ones and zeros.
Right.
Digital communication.
You can. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could probably get AM out of it. And I'm not sure I agree with the guy that said that it can't be done, because there's other guys, that CERN folks that said, well, you probably could. But we just don't understand how it would happen yet.
I would say it just breaks down to the fact that we know there's this principle of information can be transmitted instantly. We've seen quantum entanglement. Even if that can't be used, we're opening a door to something. Do you know what I mean? There might be more to learn there. So there almost is, or certainly something like that. And as we understand it more, we may find that actually this is a technology that is usable, and it is a technology that would be vital if you were going to start exploring the stars, and particularly if you had a way of getting around the time dilation, because you'd still want to communicate. If you set up a colony on Alpha Centauri, you're going to want to phone home. That's just the way. That's human psychology. People would want to do that. Also, you might need to phone for help, and there's lots of reasons why communication is important. Or naval ships wouldn't bother having radios. It's like So I think my point is that's a technology though that again we need for this, and that we're seeing a glimpse of. We're starting to actually get an idea of this is possible. So anybody says to me aliens can't be coming here, and because physics says so, is talking crap.
But there's lots of other things we just don't know about. But that's just because we don't know how to do them yet. That's
the need and desire as well. I always think that humanity is incredible at doing stuff when we need to.
Yeah,
we're not so good at doing stuff we don't need to. We're actually quite lazy. But when we have to do something, our ability. This is why I think we always see big bursts of technology during wartime, and big advances, because people have there's that need, there's that, and then our ingenuity kicks in. So yeah, maybe over the next 50 years, when global warming does kick in and people actually stop denying it, maybe that will be the next big burst of technology.
I hope it's not 50 years. I hope somebody does something today. Because we're baking out here.
Yeah, we're drowning.
Yeah, you're drowning. You and your water.
God damn it, it's everywhere. Of all the comments you get, what are your? I mean, that's really why we started talking this whole conversation. Have you got a couple of favourites? Have you got anything that jumped to mind?
Concerning all of this,
just anything, any like comments that make you go, really?
Make me want to strangle people. I think is they're here for our gold, or they're here for our water. And it's like, did you not take any science in high school? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's you do a Google search, gold in the solar system, and you're going to learn all about asteroids. Water in the solar system. Earth's got a lot.
Yeah. The alien species will have had to fly through the Orca cloud, which is basically just a massive thing of comets.
Well, let's get right through the water to get their water.
Get through the water, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because human water, well, it's just full of antibiotics and plastic and salt and radiation from Fukushima. I mean, yeah, that's quality water, man. Let's know that pure cloud. No, let's not have any of that.
Special crap water full of salt. One of my favorites, one of my really early comments I got, was cracked me up, and it still makes me laugh now. Was holy shit, dude, this isn't Fortnite. Do Fortnite. And it was a video about the end of the world. And it's just like, I'm not going to do Fortnite. It's like, you really come to the wrong channel for that one, man. I think the ones that make me headbang the most are when we get comments that aliens are angels or demons. That's the one that really sort of makes me just does my head. And I'm like, I don't know how to argue with somebody that, a Berkey filter, yeah. I don't know how to argue with people like that believe that their aliens exist, but they're demons. And I'm like, so are you seriously saying that it's more likely and it's more logical that there's a God, and don't get me wrong, there might be a God, but that there's a God that's created demons, and that is more likely than an alien species is coming here? That my theory's silly, but demons is more logical. I just don't know how to start that conversation.
Yeah, for me, it's when you take a topic and you theosophize it, it's like, oh, don't open that can of worms, man, because you've just closed off your mind to solving problems. And I got thrown out of Sunday school twice for asking the wrong question. One was a temporary 2-week ban from Sunday school. I asked the embarrassing question, well, if I went to a fundamentalist Christian church in the South, in the American South. And my question was, well, if the dinosaurs roamed the earth with man, why don't we ever find human skeletons inside the stomachs of dinosaurs? Well, Mr. and Mrs. Williams, we really can't have Stormy in class disrupting, and we're going to have to talk to the preacher. And then the preacher said he can't come back for 2 weeks. So, a couple of months go by, and then I asked the embarrassing question of, well, if the flood covered the entirety of Earth, then, so you're increasing the diameter of the Earth by, 10 miles. So then you take the diameter of the Earth, find the pi r squared, and then you take the diameter, add that 10 to it, and then do the sphere and find out the volume, and then subtract volume A from volume B. You have the volume of water is about equal that to a small moon. Where did the water go? Because if you completely dehydrate the atmosphere of Earth and melt every single bit of water on Earth, you get a max water rise of about 30 meters, 40 meters.
Which will be bad, but it won't cover the Earth.
Right.
You were called a smart ass at school, weren't you? You were bullied, right?
Yes.
I got kicked out. I went to a Catholic school.
Oh.
I did make a nun cry once, which I was quite bad. But I was told in theology, I was made to sit at the back and read the paper. I wasn't allowed to ask questions anymore and I didn't even think about that. I just thought when we're talking about Noah, I just said, how come the ducks got away with it? And that's all I said. And she just, and that was like, get to the back of the class, like asking her questions. And it's like, I thought it was, God was supposed to wipe out everything, right? How come the ducks got away with it scot-free? And, I actually saw a duck getting on Noah's Ark, walking on Noah's Ark on one of the paintings. I said, why is he bothering?
Mallards, God's favorite animal.
Exactly. And then I was saying, I think the final straw was, how did the kangaroos get there? And that was it. Then she had me done.
Just had
yeah, she didn't want to talk to me anymore. But yeah, so I've never been. I like this theory about the ether, and Einstein didn't like it. He scratched out a lot of his equations. Then he brought it back and said, "I made a mistake." He said this ether, and we now know it's dark energy.
Right,
fills the universe. It's really fundamental to the creation of matter and how matter forms and clusters and all this sort of thing. So, and also saying, so there's this energy that fills the universe. It's fundamental to life existing. That sounds a bit like God. So I was just thinking, maybe these religious guys, they actually did have an idea. They just maybe then threw human stuff on board. It's like, you're kind of right. There is a universe. It's not, conscious, probably, but it's kind of fills the universe. So, but I said that to a friend of mine that's actually a priest not long ago, and he got really angry at me as well. But that's the thing, is that you can't question anyone's beliefs.
Yeah, and that's the point. They get so angry, and I said, "Dude, it's your book."
Yeah.
Aren't you?
I annoy them because I've read it.
Yeah, I mean,
I really annoy religious folks.
Yeah.
A guy's come to me and says about, I've argued with him for about a week. He's becoming my friend slowly. I'm winning him round. But he was saying about the mark of the beast. And don't take the vaccine. It's the mark of the beast. 666, mark of the beast. And I was just like, right, okay. What is the number of the beast? And he went 666. No, it isn't. It's 616. How do I know more about your religion than you do? Also, you can't be tricked into taking the mark of the beast. Oh, what do you mean? You're not tricked into taking the vaccine. You take it willingly. Because no, you need to know that it's the mark of the beast. You need to willingly accept it because it's to do with worship. Again, how do I know more about your faith than you do? Maybe you shouldn't be creating memes and going on Facebook and yelling people don't take the vaccine because it's the mark of the beast without doing a little bit of research.
I really fucked with some guy. I was being evil, and I told this guy, well, God gave us 10 fingers. He said, yes, God gave us everything. He said, no, he gave us 10 fingers because you really have to have base 10, to get 666. If we only had, 5 fingers, we could never have 666. And he was infuriated that I brought up base 5. Because you can never have 666 in base 5. And he was just pissed. I mean, I thought he wanted to hit me. It did, but church.
Yeah.
Well,
honestly,
go ahead.
No, I was saying, some of the people I've argued with this, and I'm genuinely quite pleased that I'm British, because I've annoyed flat earthers to the point that I'm certain if I was local they would come around and knock my door. Telling people that the mark of the beast isn't 666 really pisses them off. Yes, it is. Here's the evidence. So, where do you live?
Where do you live?
And Greerites. Greer fans really don't like me. But I'm okay with it. Because other people like me.
Yeah.
Bazza. He's still on there. He's left a message and I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Take the vaccine because I think it could be dangerous. That's the thing with the vaccine. There's lots of reasons not to take the vaccine, and I wouldn't argue with anybody that says they don't want to take it because it's been developed really freaking quickly. You have to understand where the technology come from and how it was developed that quickly and what it does and stuff.
Messenger RNA technology, yeah. Yeah,
exactly. And this is a technology that's been in development for about a decade, because they've always known this sort of sudden illness could appear, and because it's happened before. It happens every 100 years or so. So you have to understand that. But I don't blame anybody for that. But don't not take it because you think it's the mark of the beast. That's just stupid.
Just
like I told you earlier, my first couple of videos start with me going,
what's the button? Is it, do I press? Where do I?
Where do I turn that on? Oh.
Well, I hope I haven't embarrassed you too bad.
It's been like always, mate. It's been just a load of fun, and we have covered everything. I don't ever need to do a video again. I just got to.
We're done.
To watch this.
We retire. That's right.
Sorted. Retire. I retire on my YouTube money.
My nickels. All my nickels.
Yeah, exactly. But enough. Right. Thank you for having us on.
See you guys later. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Really do appreciate it. See you.